Morphology of flowering plants. The wide range and structure of higher plants will never fail to fascinate us. Even though the angiosperms show such large diversity in external structure or morphology, they are all characterized by the presence of roots, stems, leaves, flowers, and fruits. If you pull out any weed, you will see that all of them have roots, stems, and leaves. They may be bearing flowers and fruits. The underground part of the flowering plant is the root system, while the portion above the ground forms the shoot system. The root. In majority of the dicot plants, the direct elongation of the radicle leads to the formation of primary root, which grows inside the soil. It bears lateral roots of several orders that are referred to as secondary, tertiary, etc. roots. The primary roots and its branches constitute the taproot system, as seen in mustard plant. In monocot plants, the primary root is short-lived and is replaced by a large number of roots. These roots originate from the base of the stem and constitute the fibrous root system, as seen in wheat plant. In some plants like grass, monstera, and banyan tree, roots arise from parts of plant other than radicle and are called adventitious roots. The main functions of the root system are absorption of water and minerals from the soil, providing a proper anchorage to the plant parts, storing reserve food material, and synthesis of plant growth regulators. Regions of the root. The root is covered at the apex by a thimble-like structure called the root cap. It protects the tender apex of the root as it makes its way through the soil. A few millimeters above the root cap is the region of meristematic activity. The cells of this region are very small, thin-walled, and with dense protoplasm. They divide rapidly. The cells proximal to this region undergo rapid elongation and enlargement and are responsible for the growth of the root in length. This region is called the region of elongation. The cells of the elongation zone gradually differentiate and mature. Hence, this zone proximal to this region of elongation is called the zone of maturation or region of maturation. From this region, some of the epidermal cells form very fine and delicate thread-like structures called root hairs. These root hairs absorb water and minerals from the soil. Modification of root. Roots in some plants change their shape and structure to become modified to perform functions other than absorption and conduction of water and minerals. They are modified for support, storage of food, and respiration. Taproots of carrot, turnip, and adventitious roots of sweet potato get swollen to store food. Hanging structures that support a banyan tree are called prop roots. Similarly, the stems of maize and sugarcane have supporting roots coming out of the lower nodes of the stem. These are called slit roots. Stilled roots. In some plants, such as rhizopus, growing in swampy areas, many roots come out of the ground and grow vertically upwards. Such roots are called pneumatophores. Help to get oxygen for respiration. The stem. What are the features that distinguish a stem from a root? The stem is the ascending part of the axis bearing branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. It develops from the plumule of the embryo of a germinating seed. The stem bears nodes and internodes. The region of the stem where leaves are born are called nodes, while internodes are portion between two nodes. The stem bears buds which may be terminal or axillary. Stem is generally green when young and later often becomes woody and dark brown. The main function of the stem is spreading out branches bearing leaves, flowers, and fruits. It conducts water, minerals, and photosynthetates. Some stems perform the function of storage of food, support, protection, and vegetative propagation. Modifications of stem. The stem may not always be typically like what they are expected to be. They are modified to perform different functions. Underground stems of potato, ginger, turmeric, zameen kand, colocasia are modified to store food in them. They also act as organs of perennation to tide over conditions unfavorable for growth. Stem tendrils which develop from axillary buds are slender and spirally coiled and help plants to climb, such as gourds, cucumber, pumpkin, watermelon, and grapevines. Axillary buds of stems may also get modified into woody, straight, and pointed thorns. Thorns are found in many plants such as citrus and bougainvillea. They protect plants from browsing animals. Some plants of arid regions modified their stems into flattened opuntia or fleshy cylindrical euphorbia structures. They contain chlorophyll and carry out photosynthesis. Underground stems of some plants such as grass and strawberry, etc., spread to new niche even when older parts die and new plants are formed. In plants like mint and jasmine, a slender lateral branch arises from the base of the main axis and after growing aerially for some time, arc downwards to touch the ground. A lateral branch with short internodes and each node bearing a rosette of leaves and a tuft of roots is found in aquatic plants like pistia and acornia. In banana, pineapple, and chrysanthemum, the lateral branches originate from the basal underground portion of the main stem, grow horizontally beneath the soil, and then come out obliquely upwards, giving rise to leafy shoots. The leaf. The leaf is a lateral, generally flattened structure borne on the stem. It develops at the node, bears a bud in its axil. The axillary buds later develop into a branch. Leaves originate from shoot apical meristem and are arranged in an acropetal order. They are the most important vegetative organs for photosynthesis. A typical leaf consists of three main parts: leaf base, petiole, and lamina. The leaf is attached to the stem by the leaf base and may bear two lateral small leaf-like structures called the stipules. In monocots, the leaf base expands into a sheath covering the stem partially or wholly. In legume plants or leguminous plants, the leaf base may become swollen, which is called the pulvinus. The petiole helps to hold the blade to light. Long, thin, flexible petioles allow the leaf blades to flutter in wind, thereby cooling the leaf and bringing fresh air to the leaf surface. The lamina or leaf blade is the green expanded part of the leaf with veins and veinlets. There is usually a middle prominent vein which is known as the midrib. Veins provide rigidity to the leaf blade and acts as channels of transport for water, minerals, and food minerals. The shape, margin, apex, surface, and extent of incision of lamina varies in different leaves. Venation. The arrangement of veins and veinlets in the lamina of the leaf is termed as venation. When the veinlets form a network, the venation is termed as reticulate. When the veins run parallel to each other within a lamina, the venation is termed as parallel. Leaves of dicot plants generally possess reticulate venation. While parallel venation is the characteristic of most monocots. Types of leaves. A leaf is said to be simple when its lamina is entire or when incised, the incision do not touch the midrib. When the incision of the lamina reach up to the midrib, breaking it into a number of leaflets, the leaf is called compound. A bud is present in the axil of the petiole in both simple and compound leaves, but not in the axil of leaflets of the compound leaf. The compound leaf may be of two types. In a pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on the common axis called the rachis, which represents the midrib of the leaf as in name. In palmately compound leaves, the leaflets are attached at a common point, that is, at the tip of petiole as in silk cotton. Phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch. This is usually of three types: alternate, opposite, and whorled. In alternate type of phytotaxy, a single leaf arises at each node in the alternate manner, as in China rose, mustard and sunflower plants. In opposite type, a pair of leaves arise at each node and lie opposite to each other, as in Calotropis and guava plant. If more than two leaves arise at the node and form a whorl, it is called whorled, as in Alstonia. Modification of leaves. Leaves are often modified to perform functions other than photosynthesis. They are converted into tendrils for climbing, as in peas, or into spines for defense, as in cacti. The fleshy leaves of onion and garlic store food. In some plants, such as Australian acacia, leaves are small and short-lived. The petioles in these plants expand, become green, and synthesize food. Leaves of certain insectivorous plants, such as pitcher plants, Venus flytrap, also are modified leaves. The inflorescence. A flower is a modified shoot wherein the shoot apical meristem changes to floral meristem. Internodes do not elongate and axis gets condensed. The apex produces different kinds of floral appendages laterally at successive nodes instead of leaves. When a shoot tip transforms into a flower, it is always solitary. The arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Depending upon whether the apex gets converted into a flower or continues to grow, two major types of inflorescence are defined: racemose and cymose. In racemose type of inflorescence, the main axis continues to grow. The flowers are borne laterally in an acropetal succession. In cymose type of inflorescence, the main axis terminates into a flower, hence is limited in growth. The flowers are borne in a basipetal order. Flower. The flower is the reproductive unit in the angiosperms. It is meant for sexual reproduction. A typical flower has 4 different kinds of whorls arranged in successively on the swollen end of the stalk or pedicel, called thalamus or receptacle. These are calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx and corolla are accessory organs, while androecium and gynoecium are reproductive organs. In some flowers, like lily, the calyx and corolla are not distinct and are termed as perianth. When a flower has both androecium and gynoecium, it is bisexual. A flower having either only stamens or only carpels is unisexual. In symmetry, the flower may be actinomorphic, radial symmetry, or zygomorphic, bilateral symmetry. When a flower can be divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center, it is said to be actinomorphic. For example, mustard, datura, chili. When it can be divided into two similar halves only in one plane, vertical plane, it is zygomorphic, like pea, gulmohar, bean, cassia. A flower is asymmetric, irregular if it cannot be divided into two similar halves by any vertical plane passing through the center, such as in canna. A flower may be trimerous, tetramerous, pentamerous when the floral appendages are the multiple of 3, 4, or 5 respectively. Flower with bracts, reduced leaves found at the base of the pedicel are called bracteate, and those without bracts, ebracteate. Based on the position of calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium with respect to ovary or thalamus, the flowers are described as hypogynous, perigynous, and epigynous. In hypogynous flower, the gynoecium occupies the highest position, while the other parts are situated below it. The ovary in such flowers are said to be superior, for example, mustard, China rose, and brinjal. If gynoecium is situated in the center and other parts of the flower are located on the rim of the thalamus, almost all at the same level, it is called perigynous. The ovary here is said to be half inferior, for example, plum, rose, peach. In epigynous flowers, the margin of thalamus grows upward, enclosing ovary completely, and gets fused with it. The other parts of the flower arise above the ovary, hence the ovary is said to be inferior, as in flowers of guava and cucumber. and the ray florets of sunflower. Parts of a flower. Each flower normally has 4 floral whorls with calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Calyx. The calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower and the members are called sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gamosepalous, sepals united, or polysepalous, sepals free. Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insects for pollination. Like calyx, corolla may also be united, gamopetalous, petals united, or polypetalous, petals free. The shape and color of the corolla vary greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped, or wheel-shaped. Estivation. The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a floral bud with respect to other members of the same whorl is known as estivation. The main types of estivation are velvate, twisted, imbricate, and vexillary. When sepals or petals in the whorl just touch one another at the margin without overlapping, as in calotropis, it is said to be valvate. If one margin of the appendage overlaps with that of the other, next one, and so on, as in China rose, ladyfinger, and cotton, it is called twisted. If the margins of sepals and petals overlap with one another but not to any particular direction, as in cassia and gulmohar, the estivation is said to be imbricate. In pea and bean flowers, there are 5 petals. The largest standard overlaps 2 lateral petals, wings, which in turn overlap the 2 smallest anterior petals, keel. This type of estivation is known as vexillary or papillonaceous. Androecium. Androecium is composed of stamens. Each stamen, which represents a male reproductive organ, consists of a stalk or a filament and an anther. Each anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has 2 chambers. The pollen sacs, the pollen grains, are produced in the pollen sacs. A sterile stamen is called a staminode. Stamens of the flower may be united with one another, with other members such as petals among themselves or among themselves. Stamens of the flower may be united with other members such as petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to the petals, they are called epipetalous, as in brinjal, or epiphyllous when attached to perianth, as in flowers of lily. The stamens in a flower may either remain free, polyandrous, or may be united in varying degrees. The stamen may be united into one bunch or one bundle, monodelphous, as in China rose, or 2 bundles, didelphous, as in pea, or more than 2 bundles, polydelphous, as in citrus. There may be a variation in length of filaments within a flower, as in salvia and mustard. Gynoecium. Gynoecium is a female reproductive part of a flower and is made up of 1 or more carpels. A carpel consists of 3 parts, namely stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary is the enlarged basal part on which the lies the elongated tube, the style. The style connects the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is usually at the tip of the style and is the receptive surface of pollen grains. Each ovary bears 1 or 2 more attached ovules into a flattened cushion-like placenta. When more than 1 carpel is present, there may be free, as in lotus and rose, and called apocarpus. They are termed as syncarpus when the carpels are fused, as in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovules develop into seeds and ovary matures into a fruit. Placentation. The arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. The placentation are of different types, namely marginal, axial, parietal, basal, central, and free central. In marginal placentation, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary and the ovules are borne on this ridge, forming 2 rows, as in pea. When the placenta is axial, and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary. The placentation is said to be exile, as in China rose, tomato, and lemon. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary on the peripheral part. Ovary is one-chambered, but it becomes two-chambered due to the formation of false septum, for example mustard and argemone. When the ovules are born on the central axis and septa are absent, as in dianthus and primrose, the placentation is said to be free central. In basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, as in sunflower and marigold. The fruit. The fruit is a characteristic feature of the flowering plants. It is a mature or ripened ovary developed after fertilization. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, it is called a parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a wall or pericarp and seeds. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into outer epicarp, the middle mesocarp, and the inner endocarp. In mango and coconut, the fruit is known as drupe. They develop from monocarpillary superior ovaries and are one-seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, middle fleshy edible mesocarp, and inner stony hard endocarp. In coconut, which is also a drupe, the mesocarp is fibrous. The seed. The ovules after fertilization develop into seeds. A seed is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. The embryo is made up of a radicle, an embryonal axis, and one, as in wheat and maize, or two cotyledons, as in gram and pea. Structure of dicot seed. The outermost covering of a seed is the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers, the outer testa and the inner tegmen. Testa, tegmen. Testa, tegmen. The hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds are attached to the fruit. Hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds were attached to the fruit. Above the hilum is a small pore called the micropyle. Within the seed coat, the embryo consisting of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reserved food materials. At the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radicle and the plumule. In some seeds, such as castor, the endosperm formed as a result of double fertilization. It is a food storing tissue. In plants such as bean, gram, and pea, the endosperm is not present in mature seeds, and such seeds are called non-endospermous. Structure of monocot seed. Generally, monocot seeds are endospermic, but some, as in orchids, are non-endospermic. In the seeds of cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous and generally fused with the fruit wall. I repeat, in the cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous and generally fused with the fruit wall. The endosperm is bulky and stores food. The outer covering of endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinaceous layer called aleurone layer. The ploidy of aleurone layer is 3N. The embryo is small and situated in a groove at one end of the endosperm. It consists of large shield-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum and a short axis with plumule and a radicle. The plumule and the radicle are enclosed in sheaths which are coleoptile and coleorhiza respectively. Semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be in brief, in simple and scientific language, and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described in the beginning with its vegetative characters like roots, stem and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of a plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. In a floral formula, BR stands for bracteate, K stands for calyx, C for corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium, and G for gynoecium. If there is a small line below G, it means superior ovary, and above G for inferior ovary. The symbol of bow and arrow for male and the symbol of mirror for female, and both for bisexual plants. If there is a plus sign, it stands for actinomorphic. If there is a percentage sign, it stands for zygomorphic nature. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within brackets and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement, and the relation they have with one another. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium drawn in successive whorls, calyx being outermost, gynoecium being in the center. Floral formula also shows cohesion, adhesion within the whorls and between the whorls. Description of some important families. Fabaceae. This family was earlier called Papilionoideae, a subfamily of Leguminosae. It is distributed all over the world. Vegetative characteristics: trees, shrubs and herbs. Roots with root nodules. Stem erect or climber. Leaves alternate, pinnately compound or simple. Leaf base pulvinate, stipulate, venation, reticulate. Floral characters: inflorescence racemose, flower bisexual zygomorphic, calyx sepals 5, gamosepalous, valvate or imbricate estivation, corolla petals 5, polypetalous, papilionaceous, consisting of a posterior standard, 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones, forming a keel, enclosing stamens and pistil, vexillary estivation. Androecium 10, diadelphous. Anther dithecus. Gynoecium ovary superior, monocarpellary, unilocular with many ovules, stingle style. Fruit, legume, seed, one to many, non-endospermic. Floral formula: percentage, then both signs of bisexual, calyx 5, fused, corolla 1 plus 2 plus 2, in which 2 is fused, androecium 9 plus 1, 9 is fused, ovary superior. Many plants belonging to the family are sources of pulses like gram, arhar, same, moong, soya bean, edible oil, soya bean groundnut, dye, indigofera, fibers, sun hemp, fodder, cisbania and trifolium, ornamentals like lupin and sweet pea, medicines like muletti. Solanaceae. It is a large family commonly called the potato family. It is widely distributed in tropics, subtropics and even in temperate zones. Vegetative characters: plants mostly herbs, shrubs and rarely small trees. Stem herbaceous, rarely woody, aerial, erect, cylindrical, branched, solid or hollow, hairy or glabrous. Underground stem in potato, Solanum tuberosum. Leaves alternate, simple, rarely pinnately compound, exstipulate, venation, reticulate. Floral characters: inflorescence solitary, axillary or cymose as in Solanum. Flowers bisexual, actinomorphic. Calyx sepals 5, united, persistent, valvate estivation. Corolla sepals petals 5, united, valvate estivation. Androecium stamen 5, epipetalous. Gynoecium bicarpellary, syncarpous, superior ovary, bilocular placenta, swollen with many ovules. Fruits, berry or capsule. Seeds, many endospermous. Economic importance: Many plants belonging to this family are source of food: tomato, brinjal and potato, spice, chili, medicine, belladonna, ashwagandha, fumigatory, tobacco, ornamentals like petunia. Liliaceae, commonly called the lily family, is a characteristic representative of monocot plants. It is distributed worldwide. Vegetative characters: perennial herbs with underground bulbs, corms or rhizomes. Leaves mostly basal, alternate, linear, exstipulate with parallel venation. Floral characters: inflorescence solitary or cymose, often umbellate clusters. Flower bisexual actinomorphic. Perianth tepal 6 3+3, often united into tube. Valvate estivation. Androecium stamens 6 3+3, epipetalous. Gynoecium tricarpillary syncarpus, ovary superior, trilocular with many ovules. Exile placentation. Fruit capsule, rarely berry. Seed endospermous. Economic importance: many plants belonging to this family are good ornamentals like tulip gloriosa, source of medicines like aloe, vegetables like asparagus and colchicine, colchium autumnale, inhibitor of mitosis in polyploid cells, resulting in polyploid cells.
Hope you loved my presentation. Thanks for watching and do subscribe my channel for latest updates. Thank you.